the stock market but lose it all during the trade. It is bad, right? Unfortunately, it can happen due to the mood swings in the stock market, or also known as stock market volatility. And there are two factors that can cause stock market mood swings: the economic openness and macroeconomic factors. In analyzing this topic in the case of Malaysia, I have identified that the relationship between economic openness and stock market mood swings is mixed, as it depends on how we measure the economic openness. If economic openness is measured based on the official openness or official flows of trade between Malaysia and the rest of the world, then it appears that the economic openness can cause stock market mood swings to be higher. But on the other hand, if we measure economic openness based on the actual flows of trade between Malaysia and the rest of the world, then it appears that the economic openness can cause stock market mood swings or volatility to be lower. In the aspect of macroeconomic factors, it is identified that the interest rate can cause stock market mood swings to be higher. But on the other hand, the exchange rate or the value of local currency as well as the economic development can cause the stock market mood swings to be lower. So the question is, how do we manage the problems of stock market mood swings? Well, there are two possible ways based on my research. First is by ensuring that the level of the economic growth as well as local currency value to be always maximized in order to ensure that the level of stock market volatility or mood swings to be minimized. And then the second approach is by conducting an investment strategy known as stock market investment diversification, where based on this investment approach, investors should invest in more than one economic sectors. Because by doing so, well, when the economic or stock market is volatile in one particular economic sectors, then the investment made into the rest of the economic sectors can secure the total investment. It is like instead of putting the chicken eggs into one particular basket, we should separate them. Because when we accidentally drop one basket, we still have other baskets with us. So this research is very important, not just in terms of its significance in contributing towards the body of knowledge, but also in assisting firms and policymakers in constructing relevant strategy to manage the mood swings in the stock market. That's all from me.
Our cars with petrol, maybe with hydrogen, so we never know. So, next, we have contestant number 3, Mr. Saizal bin Pinjaman from University Malaysia Sabah, competing in the Social Science Cluster. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. I used to think that mood swings happen only and experienced only by human beings. But this is wrong, because mood swings happen and experienced by the stock market as well. When our mood swings, we tend to get angry, right? But do you know what will happen with the stock market mood swings? It can cripple the economy, and it will be bad for you and for me. But what are factors that influence the mood swings in the first place? Well, that's when my research comes into place. Based on the regression analysis that I have conducted in the case of Malaysia, I have found that the economic openness and macroeconomic factors are important determinants. The relationship between the economic openness and stock market mood swings depends on how we define the economic openness. When the economic openness is defined based on the official flows of trade between Malaysia and the rest of the world, it appears that economic openness caused stock market to become moody. But on the other hand, when the economic openness is defined based on the actual flows of trade instead, then it appears that economic openness caused stock market to become stable. In the aspect of macroeconomic factors, the interest rate exhibit positive relationship with the mood swings. Meanwhile, the exchange rate or the currency value and the economic growth share a lowering impact and dominant in influencing the mood swings. So how do we manage the mood swings then? Well, there are two possible ways based on my research, and they are not pills. Firstly, we can maximize the value of the economic growth and the local currency value, which is the exchange rate, or the ringgit Malaysia. This is because I have found that these two determinants are significant in neutralizing the negative impact of the economic openness towards the mood swings. The second approach is by diversifying our investment in the stock market into different economic sectors. But this strategy is only effective in the short run, which is less than 5 months for most of the economic sectors. Because in the long run, mood swings flow from one economic sector to other sectors and cause investment diversification strategy to be ineffective. So, this research is very significant, not just because it identifies important determinants of the mood swings, but also in assisting firms and policymakers to construct relevant strategy to manage the mood swings in the stock market more effectively. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Saizal.
Wellness starts from a healthy gut, because our digestive system is the place where nutrients are absorbed and it defended against potential foodborne diseases. Scientists have found out that by consuming a certain type of non-digestible carbohydrates, technically we call prebiotics, we can improve our gut health by promoting the good bacteria that resides in it. And boom, this ingredient is highly demanded in the industry. However, the viable natural sources is only limited to artichoke and chicory, in which they cannot be planted in Malaysia. We eventually have seaweeds. Now these seaweeds have been known to be rich in non-digestible carbohydrates, and they could be potentially prebiotics. And we have stressed that in our recent publication, that in order for seaweeds to be a viable future commodity, more downstream processing is needed to ensure diversification and product enhancement. This is where my study comes in. I studied 6 seaweeds and found out that 2 seaweed species contains non-digestible carbohydrates that when broken down into smaller sizes or molecules, they enhance the growth of beneficial bacteria in a simulated gut system. Moreover, it induces these good bacteria to produce beneficial fatty acids. And these fatty acids, they are potential to promote reduction of bad cholesterol and prevent obesity in the human body. I've learned that the size and the composition of this carbohydrate is very important to this activity. And I've successfully extracted and isolated this carbohydrate and increasing its yield by 20%, as well as reducing byproducts during extraction. Our prototype product, the microwavable seaweed snack with prebiotics, has recognized with a gold award in ITEX 2016, indicating that our product can have a tremendous, can revolutionize consumer foods. My study can contribute to the seaweed and food industry in 3 aspects. The first one, I've discovered a potential viable local source of prebiotics. Second, my technology developed is one way to preserve the functional value of seaweeds for potentially diverse application. And this technology can be adapted in our other neighboring countries that produce seaweeds. And number 3, By using seaweeds, we are promoting the best way to prevent diseases is by making wellness better, starting from the gut. Everybody deserves to be healthy. A healthy tummy makes everyone's happy.
Next, I would like to invite Mr. Verdi Scott Anak Padang from University Malaysia Sabah, competing in Science and Technology Cluster.
Your wellness and mine and everybody else in this world depends on the healthiness of our gut. Now, our gut absorbs all the nutrients for our body, and it provides the first line of defense against potential foodborne illnesses. The good news is, ladies and gentlemen, scientists have found out that by consuming a certain type of non-digestible carbohydrates called prebiotics, we can improve our gut health by promoting the beneficial bacteria that resides in our gut. Now, Malaysia has an abundant amount of seaweed which contains the non-digestible carbohydrates. And this could be the key that can lead us to discover a potential local and natural source of this amazing ingredient. Now, I've extracted the carbohydrates from 6 different types of seaweed and found out that 2 seaweed species, the red carboficus and the sea grapes, contains carbohydrates that when broken down into smaller molecules at about 1,000 delta, it can selectively increase the amount of beneficial bacteria in a simulated gut environment significantly. What's more interesting is that these bacteria are able to convert these carbohydrates into beneficial short-chain fatty acids that are known to inhibit bad cholesterol and prevent obesity. Now, I've optimized my extraction methods to get more of these beneficial carbohydrates, reducing the byproducts and energy usage during extraction. Our prototype product has been rewarded with a gold award in ITEX 2016, indicating that this ingredient from seaweed can potentially revolutionize towards healthier consumer foods. Now, this new knowledge can contribute to the society and industry in 3 different aspects. Firstly, I've discovered a potential local source of prebiotics which is similar goodness with commercial ones. Secondly, I've managed to preserve the functional benefit of seaweed for potentially diverse and high-value purposes. Now, high-value purposes indirectly can contribute to the socio-economic status of the coastal communities, in which until today they remain one of the poorest communities in this region. And lastly, by using seaweeds, we are able to promote the health of... Thank you very much.
Can identify the quality of our air, the bad air and then good air. When it can be done by living into the 2 different places. You can say that good air in living under the virgin nature, and then the bad air obviously under the urban area. So in 2016, the global climate change meetings had been confirmed that until now, the burning of fossil fuel and then with the industrializations are the sources of emissions of CO2 gas. With these issues, among researchers, engineers, scientists are developing how to capture gas carbon dioxide. the capture of gas carbon dioxide can be purified and then can be good demanding and utilizing this gas. One of the techniques is the electrochemical technique to convert carbon dioxide into the product. In my study, I use a molten salt electrolysis to produce a product of carbon. Electrochemical that contain with metal alkali carbonates and then earth alkali metal carbonates as the molten compound, as the electrolytes. When it being you supply the electricity, the carbonate compound, the carbonate ion will be reduced at the cathode to produce the depositions of carbon. And with the support of carbon dioxide, by purging the gas into the reactor, the further reactions between metal oxide and the carbon dioxide will produce the carbonate compound back. So it will enrich the carbonate ions in the salt bath. So the continuity of this process will lead into the depositions of the carbon product. Carbon product has many applications. With the different temperature, with different parameter, will meet the quality of the carbon into the industry. So one of the applications of this carbon is to produce the electrode for the battery as the energy storage. And the most important is this process can contribute into green technologies where we can contribute into the mitigating the amount CO2 emissions in the industry. I think that's all from me.
Let's give him a round of applause.
I just want to bring you the perspective how to observe a carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide can be a bad gas that obviously we talk about so much that bring lead into the global climate. But with less comments about this, actually gas carbon dioxide is more valuable gas. Carbon capture and storage is the programs that have been developed amongst the engineers. So to capture the CO2 gas and then being stored as a valuable gas to support the process in many engineering process. And the CO2, in this next decade, the amount of CO2 we can get, the resources that can be found from the CCS program. So I'm thinking of this. If I can dealing with this carbon dioxide to produce a much valuable product. So from the carbon dioxide, I'm interested with the carbon material. Take the carbon from the carbon dioxide. But dealing with the carbon dioxide is the inert gas, meaning it's hard to break it. But during my literature, I found that a very interesting finding about carbon dioxide. It's easy to be converted to another compounds. So in my research, on the literature review, how we convert carbon dioxide into another compound, carbon dioxide meet with the metal oxide that contain with alkali metal, and earth alkali metal will produce a carbonate ion. So this motivates me to develop the process that called artificial like photosynthesis process. Photosynthesis process, carbon dioxide, chlorophyll, and then they produce the oxygen. That's the primary school's knowledge. But in my process, carbon dioxide apply into my reactor, react with the molten salt that contain of metal alkali oxide, form the carbonate. During the electrolysis, they form the depositions of carbon, such shown in my slide. And then at the anode side produce the oxygens. This is how I produce oxygen for our atmosphere and how I produce the raw material for the industry. So, in my research, deep on the research, playing around with the parameter can improve the process, improve the conversion process itself. So I believe that with developing, apply this process will provide a better air quality for us. Thank you.